Welcome, dear health seeker. Stay a while and listen to our topic of today. What is Natural Hygiene? To answer this question, it is important to understand natural hygiene first, as Natural Hygiene is simply its next stage of development. In essence, it is the expansion and adaptation of natural hygiene's teaching to our modern age. So what is natural hygiene then? In its widest sense, natural hygiene is the application of the principles of nature to the preservation and restoration of health applied to the sick. It consists in fighting the true cause of the patient's suffering, removing this, and in restoring the conditions of a healthy life. This is accomplished by teaching individuals what is man's proper diet, how to secure abundance of fresh air, how to use sunshine properly, how to exercise and rest properly, and so on. It may be said to be a system of purification, vivification, and rejuvenation. By the use of hygienic agents and conditions that are normal to the body, our body is cleansed, invigorated, and restored to healthy action. A rational neo-natural hygienist will study and understand exactly and precisely the nature and influences of air, water, food, light, exercise, rest, sleep, temperature, clothing, housing, noise, emotions, etc., and applies and displays this knowledge constantly, while ensuring he acts so that he and those he treats are always in proper relations to the laws of life, to ensure the preservation and restoration of health. Robert Walter, MD, provided this definition of natural hygiene back in 1894. It cures sick people by removing the cause of sickness. It removes the disease by removing the necessity for it. It believes nature is right and hence does not seek to thwart her operations. It declares that disease is a natural process of purification and should not be stopped but aided. Obedience to nature is its greatest panacea. Air, light, food, water, exercise, rest, sleep, etc., combined in such manner and degree as nature can use, are its curatives. Remove the cause and the effect will cease. This is natural hygiene." End quote. What is needed when trying to restore health or prevent disease is a complete and balanced program, not an exaggerated attention given to one particular hygienic factor. Not exercise alone, nor diet alone, no sunshine alone, not emotional poise alone, not any one factor alone, but a well-rounded, correlated, and integrated plan, which includes all the conditions and materials of healthy life. The body is a holistic system. Therefore, health must be built and maintained as a unit and must rest upon the total mode of natural living. According to natural hygiene, our health and disease are simply the result of our obedience and disobedience to the laws of nature, not the result of an attack of some kind of malevolent, invisible enemy. If you break the laws of nature, evil consequences must follow, meaning there will be a penalty to pay. The amount which will have to be paid will then depend on the mode by which the laws of life have been violated. The more blatant the transgression, the higher the fine. Dr. Henry Lindlar, in his book, The Nature Cure, states, "Thus, natural hygiene brings home to us constantly and forcibly the inexorable facts of natural law and the necessity of compliance with the law. Herein lies its great educational value. To the individual and to the race, the man who has learned to master his habits and his appetites so as to conform to nature's laws on the physical plane, and who has thereby regained his bodily health, realizes that personal effort and self-control are the masters. The naturist who has regained health and strength through obedience to the laws of his being enjoys a measure of self-content, gladness of soul, and enthusiasm which cannot be explained by mere possession of physical health. These highest and purest attainments of the human soul are not the results of mere physical well-being, but of the peace and harmony which come only from obedience to the law. Such is the peace which passeth understanding." End quote. Natural hygiene is the only true preventive method, but fortunately, the same method can be applied to the recovery of health if it was lost. But what is really a preventive method of healing? The current term, preventive method, as promoted by modern medical science, means discovery of a disease early in its development. However, is this really preventive? Once a disease is established, we cannot talk about prevention anymore. A true sign of disease prevention or of health building can rest only upon correct principles, and these were discovered by natural hygienists. What do these discoveries imply in practice? What principle did they establish in the healing art? Simply obedience to the laws of life. We cannot depart from them without incurring sickness. We cannot live in their disobedience without perpetuating disease. Is there anything so strange, so astonishing, in the proposition that the sick, in order to regain health, should obey the laws of life just as much as should the well to preserve it? Yet almost the whole world behaves in accordance with the ridiculous and incomprehensible model of medical men that offer health in a bottle or by means of scalpel profess to heal. Such things can never achieve what they promise, for they have not been designed by nature. Dr. Herbert Shelton, in his book History of Natural Hygiene, states, "There are great errors in our habits of life as evidenced by the great amount of faulty development, sickness, and premature dying among us. But we cannot wipe these errors out with drugs, vaccines, serums, gland extracts, and the surgeon's knife, nor can we ignore the errors of life. To teach that drugs are better than obedience, and that the pathological products of animal sacrifices are better than conformity with the laws of life is to completely demoralize all who accept and believe such doctrines. It is folly to think that consequences can be dosed or vaccinated away. Nature has made no provision to nullify nor destroy her own laws. The only real cure is a return to obedience. Nature does not bribe us to sin by promising us absolution. She does not hold out to us any hope that we may escape the consequences or effects of our unphysiological conduct by resorting to any immunizing agent. There is no basis in all nature for the doctrine of immunization. Immunity, were it real, it would mean the suspension of law, of cause and effect." End quote. Dr. Shelton spoke about all the treatments promoted by modern medical science and their futility in the face of nature. It is time to regain sovereignty over our health. We need to assume responsibility and accountability for our current health situation instead of hoping for absolution in a bottle only to avoid looking in the mirror. In our next episode, we shall take a closer look at the difference between the neo-natural hygiene approach to health and modern medical science.